Welcome back. It was a rough ride on Wall Street last week. The market posted its worst week in 5 years. Stocks tumbled, giving up all their gains for the past 11 months.
A domino effect that began with President Trump's announced tariffs. The implementation will most likely have a significant impact on your wallet, your finances. Prices of everyday goods are expected to now climb. And joining us on the couch once again to talk about it is Trae Bodge, smart shopping expert. She has tips on how we can all prepare. Trae, we're so grateful to have you here this morning because we could barely get through the commercial break and make it back on live television because we want to talk to you about this so badly.
Right.
It's easy to say, okay, if car prices are going up, it's a bad time to buy a car, keep your old one. But that is not possible for everybody. There are people who are going to need to buy the things that the prices of which are going up.
Yeah.
What do you generally expect this to look like? We'll start with that.
Yeah, so this is going to affect many categories, everything from groceries on the lower end to iPhones and cars on the higher end. This could be a difference of hundreds or thousands of dollars across a year. So it is something that we have to take very seriously and prepare for as well.
So with that in mind, are there changes that we should be making to our shopping habits up and down the line?
I think so. So first of all, if you're not doing this already, start shopping with lower priced retailers. You know, for example, Dollar General, who I work with, they have over 2,000 items that are just $1 in the stores. Brand names, their own private label. They also have sales events like a 7 days of savings beauty event that's starting today, so you can save even more. So I would just get into the habit of start making some changes about where you shop, because that will help you save if you're buying lower cost items.
One of the things that scares me the most about some of the stock valuations and prices this week is that it's those places you can shop for less that the stock prices got hit the hardest, and that's the place that may help people get through this. So that's a tough combination of things.
Yeah.
The bigger ticket items that you did mention, cars, laptop, iPhone, what if you need those and the prices begin to skyrocket?
Yeah, so this is such an important question. So I'm not suggesting that anyone panic buy. However, if perhaps your washer is on the fritz or your car is getting to that point where you need to replace it, it might be worth thinking about now rather than later, because the stock that's in the stores or on the lots, those prices will hold for right now. It's everything that's coming in that's going to be affected. So start looking around now. We do have Memorial Day sales coming up in May, and then look for 0% financing. Look for buy now, pay later. So look for those ways that will help you pay those items off a little bit more easily.
So if we're talking about the tariffs on items coming in, should we be emphasizing buying American, shopping American? I mean, that's a big discussion point these days.
It really is. And that is, of course, our president's goal, is to have us support American brands. And supporting American brands is very important. However, just because something is made here doesn't mean that everything it's made with is from here. And so some American goods won't be any less expensive because they're paying for those tariffs to get those parts in.
That's a really good point. I think there's a distinction there to be made between made in America, right? But the components may not be from America.
Right.
What about secondhand? I was thinking about this the other day, that companies like The Real may do well because they use products that people have used, and to sell them at a discounted price. Do you think that market will do well through this?
I do. And that market's already doing really well. It's become very trendy to buy secondhand, and I'm all for it because it's more sustainable, it's less expensive. And in this case, secondhand goods are not going to be affected by the tariffs unless perhaps if it's tech and it's been repaired with a part from another country. But there are companies like MPB.com. They specialize in camera and videography equipment. If you need a new camera, I would buy it secondhand from MPB. It's 30% off retail, and it's not going to be affected by those tariffs. So secondhand, for me, it's going to be a big winner. I would focus there.
So, you know, a lot of folks in the pandemic, for instance, talked about having these side hustles that they suddenly thought, this is a good idea, I've got this time. But for people who are looking at this situation saying, you know, I'd like to have a little extra cash, how can I possibly do that? Is there a way that they can prepare for things being more expensive?
I think so. So there are a couple things that make it easier to drum up a little extra cash. Like gold, for example, is a great commodity to sell. There's a company called the Alloy Market, and they'll send you a welcome packet. You drop your gold pieces in there, maybe jewelry you don't wear anymore, that's not your style, and then it's insured, it's sent to them, and they pay you out really quickly, like your payment gets generated that same day. So that's actually a way to generate some extra cash with very little effort. And then, of course, there are sites like The Real, Poshmark, ThredUp, where you can sell your items, consignment stores, if you want to put it a little bit more elbow grease there. But look for the ones like Alloy Market that make it really fast and easy. That's kind of what I like. And then make some lifestyle tweaks as well. So if you're buying your lunch at work versus bringing your lunch, maybe that's a tweak you can make. Maybe not going to the car wash or having your home cleaned. Those are ways to kind of generate some extra cash, those services that you're paying for, and then you can maybe sock that money away and create a little bit of a financial cushion in anticipation of the higher prices we're going to be paying.
Right. It all adds up, right?
It does.
Yeah. All right, Trae, thank you so much for being here. Really good tips. And to find more tips, check out True Trae on Instagram or TrueTrae.com.
We'll be right back.